Welcome to the Overland Sea podcast. Today we are talking about the Middlesbrough game that happened, was it last night? Um, Andrew, second leg, your favourite cup, the League Cup, 6-1. Tell me about your thoughts just before you went to the game, and then how you felt during the game, and how you think the overall game went, to be fair. I mean, can't remember the last time we scored 6 goals.
Didn't actually make it to the ground yesterday in the end.
I didn't know. Oh, wow. I didn't
Didn't feel like I
expect
was
that.
coming down with a
Okay.
cold. Thought Will was going to go when he was a kid and was like, I don't really want to have a chance of making him ill. Bear in mind, I was sat next to him for 90 minutes and was like, it's almost a lose-lose in terms of you kind of going there expecting us to win. Didn't really see a 6-1 coming out the bag and thought, if we win 2-0 and it's how happy am I going to be about it? We're advancing the Carabao Cup. Obviously, now in the final, we got to win the fucking thing because if we played all these stupid fucking games, got half the fucking injuries from players having to play too many games, and we don't win the fucking thing, irritated. Um, Especially as it'll be against Fulham or most likely Liverpool,
Yeah,
and we
we'll
can't let
find out
those
tonight. Yeah.
bastards have one over on us, can we? Um, but back to the game, 6-1, loads of goals for us, which is always nice. Massively exceeded XG, which fucking never happens for us. Um, and we got some good chances. We took them, and a lot of players played well, which is, I mean, it's helpful when their captain scores an own goal very early in the game, but we can't take that away from Chelsea. Bro would have put that in if Howson didn't. So
Woody though, this is what I was questioning. I'm not
I
gonna
think he would
lie,
have
I
done.
questioned it. I was like, oh, Woody is a bit of a dodgy touch.
No, it was going in.
Do you
I'm
think
so certain it was going in that I've given Dizazi that assist in my mind. Dizazi got the assist for that goal, despite the fact that no Opta data scientist, whatever, will give him that assist, but I am going to give it to him because it was going in.
do you think that the scoreline is a fair reflection on the game? Or do you think it was one where we got a little bit lucky in certain places and the game should have been tighter? For me, I think as soon as they scored that first own goal, they crumbled a bit. They had their moments. They had a bit of pressure on us in the first 20 minutes, and they just seemed to slowly crumble. And then after that, the defense had nothing, and they almost seemed to be the maker of their downfall.
Yeah, I think I think it was more them playing badly and not setting up in the right way rather than us being absolutely fantastic. They did make it incredibly easy for us. Um, a few of the goals were us intercepting the ball high up the pitch because they were doing sort of hopeful long balls almost across the pitch, which was never a great move. I very much thought before the game that they'd come sit back and try and counter attack. They didn't really do that. They seemed to want to play an open game, which sort of played into our hands. And sort of from minute one, we were trying to play a long ball over the top because their defense was relatively high, which wasn't really working. But it kind of just showed that they weren't sitting back and defending, which is probably what you should do against Chelsea.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to get at least one more goal to put the pressure on us because I don't think that they felt that they could come to us with a 1-0 advantage and see us out because we did have chances against them in the first leg. We just did not put any of them away. I mean, Cole Palmer missed two, three, which is unheard of. So
Again, they weren't particularly defensive at those points either.
no,
And a lot of those they were causing their own downfall. I think when you look at results that have gone against us this season, where we've dominated the game and not really scored, if everyone sits in the box, we find it very difficult to get a goal. And if you look at the sort of Enzo in acres of space for his goal, Cole Palmer picking up the ball and beating someone but like relatively easily. Noni Madueke had one man to beat for his goal, and that was the sixth. So it's not like they made it particularly difficult. They kind of played into our players' strengths, or gave we had the ball in areas of their box in a remarkable amount of space, and more space than we've had all season in those. Other than when Cole Palmer, like against Luton, has intercepted the ball and shot from range, or that through ball that Jackson played him, and we've played on the counter attack, and it felt like they allowed us to counter attack, and they got men forward slowly,
Yeah.
so they weren't causing us a hell of a lot of problems at the other end, because they weren't going forward very quickly with the ball, and not giving Caicedo time to get back, and not giving Sterling was tracking back quite a lot. They were almost building up too slowly and playing these risky balls, giving us a chance to cut in, and telegraphing a lot. Like Dizazi, for one of the goals when he stepped up, I think it was his goal, where he sort of stepped up. That pass just felt very telegraphed. I think
Yeah.
Dizazi's come from a long way to intercept that ball. So yeah, I think it's very much an evening to forget for Middlesbrough, and we've absolutely punished them in most of the opportunities that they gave us in the game. But if they played how Nottingham Forest played against us earlier in the season when we were at home and we lost 1-0, I think they've got a much better chance of nicking a goal in that kind of a game in the time it takes us to score two than they do in an open game, when we do have more quality than them. We just didn't really show it in the first game.
Yeah, and they did say after the game as well that they was it, Michael Carrick has a certain way of wanting to play. I think he's a bit of Ange Postecoglou or whatever his name is from Spurs, where he's like, this is the way that we're going to play. There are no ifs, there are no buts. And I think that you're right. They if they had played in a different way, they had played like Nottingham Forest have done against us at home, then they wouldn't have conceded anywhere near as many goals as they had done. Um, but that's a Middlesbrough problem at the end of the day. If they want to play one way, and then that's the way they're going to play, and then they have to accept that it might not be the right way to play every game.
Postecoglou, just
Postecoglou,
yeah, Postecoglou.
Postecoglou.
That's the one.
Is it disappointing that we didn't keep a clean sheet in the end? I know we scored 6 goals. Clean sheets are important. Is it that important overall with the way that we're playing and the result of the game? Your thoughts?
I think it's somewhat disappointing because you always want to keep a clean sheet. I don't think that that's a goal where you go, that's embarrassing. Like why? Like what are we doing there? Like if we lost the ball in a ridiculous position and just kind of gave them one, I'd be like, why are we doing this when we're 6-0 up? We just don't need to. But I think it was just like quite a good goal from Middlesbrough. It was a good strike, and you were like, those are the goals that you kind of go, maybe we could have been a bit closer, maybe we could have done this. But we haven't done a lot wrong in that position. So it's not one that I'm upset that we've conceded.
But in general, I mean, not the specific goal, but in general, with regards to the team mentality and clean sheets and what clean sheets mean for us moving forward, do you think this is a game that we should have, had a clean sheet? Is it that disappointing, or are we a team where
No,
actually we're not going to keep clean sheets that often? Sorry.
well, it's not a game where we're playing in a style where we were trying to keep a clean sheet. I think I'm more upset about sort of the Man City game where we've conceded 4 in a game that we should be very, very tight defensively, because we know they're going to have the better of the ball, and we know that we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
I think in a game against Middlesbrough, where they've scored a good goal that wasn't us dicking about with it and causing our own problems, fine, it happens. Like I'm never going to be that upset with a goal that is a good quality goal, and we haven't given away a silly free kick when we didn't need to then concede from a set piece, and we haven't done something erratic, or we haven't given the ball away high up the pitch and like played a silly pass that we shouldn't have been playing, because those goals happen in football. So I don't think we're a team that can expect a clean sheet every week, and I don't think we play in a style that we would expect a clean sheet every week. 9 times out of 10, that bloke blaze it over the bar or sticks it wide, just wide, and he's found the bottom corner, or a player, not that bloke.
Yeah.
Um, so it's not it's not one that bothers me that much,
But
especially when we're already 6-0 up. Like,
and this is the thing that watching the game yesterday, you had Mark Schwarzer, Hasselbank, and Karen Carney, and they were talking about the importance of clean sheets. Hasselbank made it like quite a big thing, in terms of our philosophy should be clean sheets. So there, I was just thinking in terms of is it really a big thing moving forward for us, especially as we scored 6 goals in that game? No, it probably isn't. But overall, moving forward, especially as now a lot of pundits, talk sport, even the guys last night in the studio were going, do you know what? We're 3 wins off fourth. We're 1 win off sixth, which gets us back into Europe as well, which I didn't even realize until I looked at the stats and heard everyone talking about it yesterday before the game. So actually, it looks like we're actually in a good place considering we've been written off and slagged off for most of this year. But each game at a time. Chilwell got a start. We didn't predict Chilwell getting a start because it's a championship side. Yes, it's an important game, but we have been very careful about bringing players back from injury. Obviously, they had a week, 10 days off before this game, so clearly he's managed to come back relatively quickly with regards to getting starts compared to other players. How much of a difference did he make, do you think, in that game for us?
it's difficult to say on the basis that he didn't really have a lot to do defensively. There
Yeah,
wasn't there wasn't a lot of output, so it's difficult to judge him compared to other players that have played that position this season. I think offensively he made a big difference, which I think you can judge against other players because we've been more dominant in games and the left back hasn't really given us much. And he does like those inside runs, which I quite like. And there needs to be an alternation between going inside and him coming outside and overlapping, giving Mudryk or Sterling, whoever's playing left wing, the chance to cut in because we play wingers that like to cut in off the left. But I think he picks up good positions, he makes good runs. We were having a chat in the flat about whether it should be a penalty or not when he got absolutely clattered.
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you brought this
I
up. I
don't know
was going to
what,
bring it up.
and it's one that I don't know what the rule is because I just don't really see it given. But if it's on the floor, you do see it given. Like if he gets there first and the ball's on the floor and he kicks it past the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper wipes him out, you do see it given sometimes. And I don't know what the rule is. And I would like some clarity from someone
It's a
as to
fair
what the
point.
rule
I
means.
mean, to be fair, everyone said there's no VAR. I don't. Even Gary Neville was like, I don't think you'd get that either, even with VAR. Obviously, I remember. I think one of the most famous ones for us was Drogba getting knocked out by John Ruddy at Norwich, but then that was like an actual, punch to the face.
Mm.
For me personally, I think it's a penalty because he has no idea Chilwell is there. He doesn't get the ball. He's going for the ball, but he doesn't get the ball. And he does hit Chilwell.
Well, the only thing that I can think of is the game where everyone was up in arms that I think Wolves did get a penalty at Old Trafford,
Oh no, yeah.
where no one absolutely clattered someone. And you go, yeah, okay, he's absolutely clattered him and the ball was staying in play, but he's not getting the ball. So it's not even like you can make the argument that the ball's going out of play, Chilwell's not getting the ball anyway, and it should be clattered. So he's just
I
been.
mean, he gets the ball. Chilwell wins the ball because the ball.
Chilwell wins the ball,
Yeah,
but the only argument I can think of that is not a penalty is that he's headed it over and he's not going to win that ball back.
there's an argument to say though that surely he'd have a better shot on target if the keeper doesn't make contact with him.
Yeah,
It's one thing saying you've got a player in front of you, to do their job. But at the end of the day, Chilwell probably in the back of his mind as he's going for that, he's thinking, I could get clattered here. He doesn't get clattered, but he does get hit. and the player doesn't get the ball. So for me personally, I mean, it would be harsh. You could argue it's a bit soft, but with the letter of the law, I would argue and say, well, actually, it's a penalty. He doesn't make contact with the ball. He only makes contact with the player, and the player had a very
I
good shot on target.
I would even say it's a bit soft on the basis that you see them given so regularly where the player is just basically kicking the ball away when he's running, gets there first, and someone like lightly trips him, and it's a pen. I say there's a lot more contact in that than there is in a lot of penalties that are given.
Oh no, I agree. I think it's harder with those ones because obviously there's the argument of well I've kicked the ball around the goalkeeper, and then it's will he get there in time or is there a covering person? You know, it was such a good run by Chilwell into the box. I think it was Thiago Silva that did the cross in. Um, I mean, the keeper has no idea that he's there. Like he's completely clueless. Clueless. The defense are completely clueless. So yeah, I do think it was a penalty to be fair, because otherwise, so, well, how else are you going to get a penalty for an attacking player in the box when they are going in the air, unless they're being pulled down?
Hmm.
Um,
I think it's difficult to make an argument against it if it's given.
yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Um, you mentioned Mudryk. There's another couple of notes I've got here regarding the game with Mudryk. Struggled on the left, didn't really find his position. There was not a lot of link up play with him and Chilwell. Enzo found himself out there quite a bit and found himself getting quite frustrated with Mudryk because Mudryk kept wanting to come inside and it was taking sort of space up from Enzo and he was trying to push him up wide and he only lasted 45 minutes. Tough game for Mudryk. Is it a question of getting used to players playing in certain other positions and what they expect from him? Is it them give the club or the management giving him a more direct task of you need to go up the wing more? What are your thoughts on the Mudryk situation from that game? And
I don't know what we were asking of him in that game. He looked very deep for me in a lot of situations.
hmm,
He seemed to be very far back and sort of in line with Caicedo.
well, Chilwell was actually ahead of him a lot as well, which I thought
Yeah,
quite weird.
which I agree. I think it's quite weird. And this is what I'm saying when there needs to be sort of alternating runs by Chilwell where sometimes he goes wide because I think you lose a bit. You lose a lot of Mudryk if you're trying to get him to cross off his left foot. I don't think he's a particularly good crosser of the ball with his left foot. He prefers his right and he likes cutting inside. If you're going to want him to stay wide and cross the ball in, you're going to have to play him on the right wing.
I was just about to say that actually. If that's the case, then why aren't we playing him out wide right?
Yeah, and we seem to refuse to play him wide right. So I think I don't really know what his role was in that, and I don't really know what Enzo's role was because he was playing significantly higher up the pitch than we usually see him. Especially with Cole Palmer as sort of the more advanced midfielder from what I thought the formation was supposed to be with the players that were playing. Um, so yeah, maybe I think he was just a bit crowded out because the space that he wanted to be in was Chilwell and Enzo were sort of occupying that space. So he couldn't really cut in. Lost the ball a few times trying to beat his man, and it wasn't a great night for him. And it's not the confidence booster that we kind of need for him at the minute. Um,
Just on that as well. I mean, with the Enzo part, from my understanding of listening to the post-match conference and like obviously like the reports that come out the next day, it sounded as if Poch wants to give Enzo a bit more of a free role. They're still not sure, and even with the pundits, they were saying they're still not sure what his best role is. It's not he's not a defensive player. He needs to sort of be an 8, not a 6. And then because he had a lot of freedom yesterday, which I thought worked quite well for him, but then he had a lot of space. Also for Mudryk, I don't think he's really had the opportunity of working with a proper left back. We know he's worked with Cucurella a couple of times, um, but how often did Cucurella actually overlap on the run? Colwell does his best, but we know he's not a left back, and he is the one that's predominantly played left back this season. Do you think it could just be the fact that actually having an out and out left back left wing back who's he's the best one that we've got. He's a very good one. In Chilwell, playing with him a bit regularly will actually create a better partnership, because if I remember correctly, I thought he had a nice partnership with him in pre-season.
Not sure about that. I don't remember pre-season well enough now to know. I think Mudryk, it's a weird one where he needs a pretty specific type of game at the minute. I think having an out and out left back that runs overlaps would help him significantly. But I think a lot of the underperformance this season has been in cases because the other team have 10 men behind the ball. And he is
Yeah.
a lot better when there's a lot of room for him to operate, kick the ball past people and or run in behind. Um, and we just haven't had that many games this season that have been that. This was one of those, but like we say, I think there wasn't a lot of overlapping runs. Chilwell was sort of in like cutting inside, and Enzo was sort of cutting inside, bringing men into that area. So while it was a relatively open game, I think there was a lot of people in the area that he wanted to occupy. And yeah, he wasn't going past people. He was muscled off the ball a little bit too easily, and I can see why they took him off at half time. There is something there with him, but I think he doesn't really fit the way that we've been playing. And I think he could do a different job quite well if he was given a role that was sort of closer to the striker,
Mm.
as more of an inside forward role. I think he would be better at that, despite the fact that obviously he's better with space. And we've said that. I think he is quite good with intricate play with Jackson, um, and getting the ball in tight space and shifting it if he gets it in the right way. His problem is he keeps receiving the ball with his back to the player, and he's got one move that he likes doing where he shifts it. And one, people have kind of found that out, and two, usually he shifts it in, and because it's compact, there's someone there anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas I think if he gets the ball a little bit more on the turn, and the passing to him is a little bit different, and maybe it's a skill that he needs to learn to be a little bit better with. And it's something that I think Cole Palmer's quite good at, is receiving the ball and sort of shifting it to give himself half a yard to make a pass and then run on. If he sort of develops that, I think as an inside forward, he could be a very good asset.
Well, I mean, I know the lineup on the Sky Sports app showed it that he was going to be playing behind the striker, and I actually still thought that that was going to be correct, in the sense that we know what Cole Palmer can bring out on the right, and Sterling has been very good on both wings, to be fair to him, this season. So I actually thought Mudryk was going to play behind the striker, and I thought that might help Broja out quite nicely as well, but obviously didn't happen. I would like to see him play it as the 10 a bit more. Um, just to see, because we keep talking about this 10 position, who's going to play there? You know, is it going to be Nkuku? He's out injured still. Maybe I like to think that maybe that could be a role for Mudryk, but obviously I know that I think they put him out wide to utilize his pace, because he's probably the quickest player that we've got on the team. Um, but I would like to see him play in the number 10 role for the meantime, just to sort of see what he can do with his link up play with Broja, and if he can get some space to get a shot off from outside the box, because he has that quality. Any other talking points from the game that you'd like to raise that we have not discussed as of yet?
It was a great performance from Dizazi. I want to point him out for credit where credit is due, because we do slag him off a lot, and he's playing out of position at right back. Got himself a goal. Like I say, I'm giving him the assist for the one that should have been Broja scoring, but it was ended up being an own goal. Missed it, had a decent chance that he missed as well during the game. And I thought he had a good game, and praise where it's due.
But did you happen to see what Sky Sports did when they interviewed him?
No.
they put his name, and then they put like the English flag next to his name. I read it and I didn't read it, sorry, I watched it and I was like, no, that's got to be a mistake. Do you know what I mean? I just
Definitely
thought because they had
French.
Cole Palmer next
Definitely
to him as
French.
well.
Definitely been to a World Cup with France.
Yeah. Well, Twitter started popping off, going like, "Oh my god, what is
Yeah.
this?"
Not even an English sounding
No, he
name.
did. He did have a good game. I'm still not convinced about him. I still think we could get a better defender. However, in that
Stop
game,
taking the chance to slag him off. He had a good game.
no,
Give him
I'm
credit where it's
saying it.
due.
I'm just saying. I'm still not convinced about him. However, that was a very good game for him. He got his first goal for the club. He also got an assist, which won't go down as assist because it
Not
was an own
true.
goal. But
Scored against Liverpool, but
fair.
on his debut, scored against Liverpool.
Did he?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, they were saying last night it was his first goal for the club. So I took their word
That
for
is
it. I do
not
apologise.
correct.
Fair enough. Anything else for the Middlesbrough second leg game?
Nope.
No. Who was your man of the match?
I do want to give it to Dizazi, but it just is Cole Palmer, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is really. Yeah, I mean,
Bloke scored 2 goals. There's not much more he can do.
no, I mean from the goals, well, the goals and assist points of view. I mean, yeah, it is. I personally wanted to maybe give it to Chile. It's nice to have him back. I thought he had a couple of good chances, and I think he got an assist for one or two of them. But no, it will be
That's some
Cole
weird
Palmer.
criteria you've got there for man of the match. Jesus.
Well, we said before. What can I say? Right. Well, with that, thank you all for watching the Overland Sea podcast second leg League Cup semi-final post analysis. Um, as always, like, share, subscribe, follow, comment, notification button, and stay tuned for the FA Cup home game against Aston Villa pre-game analysis. Thank you all for watching.